Welcome to the Executive Suite podcast. I'm Savannah Economopoulos, CEO and founder of Check Creative and co-founder of Icon Talent. This is where growth, business, and mindset all check in. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Executive Podcast. We always start with our check-ins and our checkouts. So our check-ins this week are going to be, we signed 2 clients, one of those clients being in 30A and Seaside, and it's an industry that we haven't tapped into yet. So I'm really excited, and it's really awesome to see our company heading into the direction that we've been focusing on and planning to go in. A checkout that we have is I had to let go of an employee, and that is never an easy decision to make and very mentally taxing and draining, and it's just not the most fun thing to do as an owner and an entrepreneur. And I'm sure all of the people that have had to experience that understand where I'm coming from. And that leads me into the topic today, which is lessons from the founder's chair and learning how to really tap into that executive role and the qualities that are necessary to make the business successful. And I feel like founders are scrappy, they're creative, they are visionaries, and it's just kind of like a little bit more chaotic, whereas executives are the ones that come in and build the systems, the structures, and hone in on the foundation. And for 2024, that year for me was learning how to think like an executive. In 2023, I had hired my first employee and I had her all year round, and she was a full-time employee, and it was a great year. I was able to go to London to a marketing seminar and start networking, and it was just a really amazing experience for that year, and we kind of just coasted and we grew, but it wasn't chaotic. 2024 was a crazy year. January, we launched Content Concierge, which was a content studio with one of my best friends and business partner. And then we launched Icon Talent with another one of my friends and business partner in July. And it was a really, really fun year, but it was also super chaotic. The company grew by 226%. We went from me and one full-time employee to 10 of us from January to July. So we scaled from in 7 months insanely. And I basically felt like I was just like on this never ending hamster wheel of just trying to keep up with the company, which was such an amazing feeling because the first 2 years, my blood, sweat, and tears was just poured into the company. And 2024 also felt that way. And I had like really early mornings, really late nights, but I didn't want to be anywhere else. And my whole identity was my business. And I just truthfully was just so present and just loved every moment of that. And then August hit and I hit a crash out season. And as entrepreneurs, learning how to set boundaries for yourself and create a balance for yourself is one of the most difficult things because you see the vision and you see opportunity, and you know that the more work that you put into the company, the more it's going to grow and the more successful it's going to be. But at the same time, you can't conquer everything in a day, just like how Rome wasn't built in a day. And that was a hard pill for me to swallow. But looking back, I wouldn't have changed a single thing. And I actually went to a workshop at Acquisition with Layla and Alex Hermosi in June of 2024. And I came back and spent the rest of that summer building out SOPs, making sure our systems were tight. Google Drive, like the amount of Google Drives that I made in July were insane. I had nothing to do with the creative side. I had nothing to do with clients. And that really forced me into that executive role and making sure that the team had everything they needed to be successful. And in order for your company to run the way that you want it to, you have to take everything that's inside of your mind and put it on paper and then teach. And that was a shift that I had to make within myself and really learn that, like, hey, I opened this company to do marketing and be creative and help businesses grow. But now that's not what this business requires. And you have to learn how to be fluid in your company and adapt to being the person that the company needs in order to grow and be successful. So sometimes the specific phase that you're in or whatever the company's requiring you to be isn't the most fun. And that's not what you signed up for. But that's what entrepreneurship is. You're taking the risk. You're doing the things that you necessarily don't want to be doing and never thought that you would have to do in order for it to be successful. And so one of the things that I mentioned in the past episode was talking about how in your first couple of years, you may not have the biggest idea of what the vision is and what the long-term goal is. And I remember sitting in the seminar in London doing a workshop, and they were like, write your mission statement, write your vision statement, write your values. And they were like, you have 5 minutes or 15 minutes, or whatever the time block was that they gave us. And I remember staring at that paper, and they gave us examples, and they like taught us how to do it. And I literally could not put the pen to the paper to write something down. I had the hardest time coming up with our vision, our mission, and our values because I would have wrote 80 values down. And the first time I ever went over like a company PowerPoint with my team and kind of had something together, there was like 50 words on there that were our values. And I'm like, okay, this is really hard to absorb. And these workshops that I've been to really made me realize like things that I was missing and things that I needed to come back to the business and be like, all right, this needs to be my main focus in order for us to like move to the next level. So the London workshop in 2023 really made me hone in on that and focus on my vision and mission statement. And I spent pretty much the rest of the year trying to figure out what that was. And I feel like to this day, it's still not perfected in my head. And then in 2024, when I went to the acquisition workshop, that made me realize that I had zero systems or SOPs in place and I needed to get my shit together. We just hired 10 people. How are you going to manage 10 people without things being like dropped through the cracks? And things were dropped through the cracks. Like when you scale like that, quality is missed and you'll lose clients and you'll lose employees and you'll get burned and you'll deal with so much that you never would have even thought in your head that you would have to deal with. But everything that you go through is only making you a stronger business owner and entrepreneur and person. Every single challenge that you go through is a lesson that you've learned. And then once you've learned that lesson, you're able to set up tactical things to prevent yourself from making that mistake again. Or when that specific situation happens, you know the steps to take in order to make it a little bit easier for yourself, for your company, or for your clients to not feel the brunt of it or whatever it is. So making sure that you're able to like reflect on all of the obstacles and challenges that you go through and setting up tactical steps for yourself in the future is only going to make the process so much easier for you. And then once you have like your mission statement and your vision statement and you have that end goal very clear in your head, all the decisions that you make, you don't have to say yes to everything, just like how you had to in the first couple of years. You're able to really make more strategic decisions that are based off of this is my end goal. Does it align with my end goal? I'm hiring an employee. Do her values align with our values? Does her work, is her creativeness going to align with our approach for our clients? You have like so much more clarity on how to make better decisions and you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that it sticks. So as entrepreneurs, giving yourself that grace, learning how to take those challenges on head on and learning that all of this is just going to make you a better, bigger, and smarter entrepreneur. So thanks for tuning in. If you are feeling like this is something that you're dealing with or learning how to really navigate how to scale or build out systems, give us a like, drop us a comment below, let us know what you're dealing with, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back next week with more. Thanks for tuning in.